friends. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
I'm Connie Daniels.
And thank you everyone for listening, for liking, subscribing, sending in all of your reviews and comments. We love you. And thank you to all the new listeners out there.
I know.
We really
welcome.
appreciate the support. So
we do.
Welcome
Thank you
to our podcast.
Yes. How have you been?
It's been a crazy couple of weeks. I feel like it's been a crazy couple of months, and I don't know, I'm really, to be honest with you, just kind of in a lull.
Wiped out.
Wiped out. I'm having a hard time right now. Just my energy's down. My drive is down. I think I'm just like a little bit depressed. It's like coming off of the launch of Prism.
How did that go, by the way? The launch.
It was so good.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was amazing. We had such a great turnout and such a great success. But you know how it is when you launch a business and you're launching off of a big event. It's like we worked our little peaches off.
Yeah.
Our little bums off.
Yeah.
I'm just feeling it. I'm just tired and just a little bit overwhelmed. I don't know if it's like seasonal depression or if it's just like my body's trying to tell me something, but something's just off.
Yeah.
So
I think
if my energy is low, forgive me.
Yes. No, that's just being real, keeping it real. I think that happens this time of year, especially in Utah. I don't know where all the listeners are from, but if we don't have sunny beach weather, we have cloudy, snowy, cold weather that we're trying to get through. And I think that plays a part. And if you're running on fumes, it's good to have a check-in with yourself.
Yeah.
When you feel those lows. And I think it's safe to say it's okay to get to those points in life. Where it's like, okay, I don't always have to be running on high speed, high energy. If I'm not feeling it today, I'm going to check in and be like, okay, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah. See, I need to be better at that because I tend to just keep going and keep running, even when my body is telling me to slow down and take a break. Like my mind won't turn off. So I just keep going.
Yeah.
And I think I'm like hitting a burnout because I was in therapy the other day and I just completely like broke down.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't done that. Like I haven't just completely been like, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And I told Justin, I said, I feel like I'm like everyone from the outside looking in, everyone probably thinks that I'm like superwoman and keeping it together, but I don't feel like I am. I'm like, I feel like something's about to fall apart. So I need to really listen to my body right now. And
so it sounds like our trip that we're planning for my birthday is coming at a perfect time.
Yes.
We're planning a trip to go to some sunshine, to have an actual break. Where are we going to go? Cabo?
Yeah, we're trying to go to Cabo. And that was Justin's point. He was like, we didn't get out of town for his birthday, but Connie's birthday is coming up. So let's get out of town because like Connie said, we have to get out of this inversion. I think a lot of it is just environmental right now too, but we're going to Cabo.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just waiting for the resort to get back to me. I'm trying to get our timeshare. We have a timeshare in Cabo, and we have this amazing penthouse.
I've been there.
Yes.
We spent Justin's 50th birthday there. Was it his? It was a big one.
Yeah, it was his 50th or 51st.
Or maybe 49th.
49th.
I feel like it was one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, I feel like the 50th is
fun.
when we had the party at my house, and it was everyone wore white, and then Julie's brother came with the panda head.
No, that happened the year before I met you. Because I've heard about this party, but
you
I
weren't
wasn't
at that
there.
party?
No.
I didn't know you yet?
No. That was right before we met. Yeah.
Okay, so we were in Cabo for Justin's 50th.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to go back. And for all the people who can't get out of the inversion, it's still important to find a way, like, I don't know, go to a breathwork class, a yoga class, something to just kind of check in with yourself and release, But,
yeah, I think acknowledging that you're not okay is really important. But yeah, luckily we have the luxury of getting out of here. And Justin and I were talking, we feel like that's just going to be the only way that I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Because if I'm here, I'm going to keep
Just keep going.
Keep going. And
I think that's your coping mechanism too, is you just like, you feel a lot of stress and you're like, I'll just push through. And then all of a sudden you're running on fumes and you're tapping.
yeah,
So recharge.
we're at the point where the plane is going down and I need to put my oxygen mask on. And I'm going to be going to therapy once a week and just work through some of these. I don't know. I'm just depressed and anxious and overwhelmed. And I usually don't get this way.
Yeah.
This low. So I'm just going to keep going to therapy, and then I'm trying to sleep.
Yeah.
But
Sleep is important, people.
But I'll be at the stop sign and I'll just start crying. And I'm like, why did the stop sign make me cry?
I don't think it's the stop sign. But we can blame it on the stop sign.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, I'm really anxious to get out of here for your birthday.
Yes, I know. Super excited. Yeah. Super excited. It's good to, we'll just refresh and recharge. Will you promise me
something though?
Yes.
Will you make sure that on the trip I'm super present? And I'm going to do my best to check out for reals from work. Yeah. But starting 2 businesses, we're getting ready to start season 4, allegedly.
Yes. Do you feel like that's adding to a little bit of your like stress too? Is just that at the back of your mind, you're getting ready for a whole new season, new cast members probably coming on. Like,
yeah, I
heard. Do you think?
I heard a rumor. I heard that you're one of the housewives.
Yeah, I heard that rumor too.
How is that logging on to social media and you're a rumored housewife?
Honestly,
every season.
You know, I just get flattered people think of me.
It's like at this point, the audience already expects Connie to have a snowflake. Like, let's make it happen.
I like my role in like just being, you know, going to the fun things. And I've said that before, but I don't know. You never know what'll happen.
Maybe.
You never know. Because I think I might know one of the new cast members that I've heard rumored has a contract. She's ready to rock and roll. So this is a close friend of mine as well. So I don't know. I feel like I might end up getting tied into this one way or another. Who knows?
I have a feeling. And you know that I've had a certain sense of like, something's coming, like, because they kept asking me about you, kept like bringing you up. And then with this, you know, we can't say names yet because nothing's been officially announced yet. Mm-hmm. But yes, there is a very, very dynamic person coming on who is going to ruffle some feathers.
No, she is.
And I think that a lot of my stress is that anticipation. Every season this happens because you don't know what every year is going to bring. Yeah. And this year we have new blood coming in, new friends, new faces. Okay. We're still going through. I heard there's rumors that we have some old friends and old faces coming back. So I don't know what's real and what's not yet. Can't speak to it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, like the fear of the unknown, right? Or the stress of that. But
well, and I think that my plate is already so full and I only have so much bandwidth. And if I'm already tapping out and feeling overwhelmed, like I haven't even added on my 4th job yet.
Yeah.
Like, my time is going to be really limited. And I'm just not in the position yet to like pass everything on with Wild Rose Beauty. Last year I had a team of 5 people. This year it's just me. So
yeah. Well, I think also it's just important to keep very present, like you said, to get through. Like when you get overwhelmed with things, I find myself just want to shut down but if you can stay present, I'll try to help you stay present. But I think that is one way to get through those overwhelming, stressful times in life when you're feeling low or out of breath even. But that kind of is a good segue into a topic we want to talk about today. Have you heard about the guy down in southern Utah, actually a family in southern Utah, in Enoch, Utah, which is really close to Cedar City, where I went to college for a couple of years down there. A Mormon family, they had 5 children, and you've heard of this, right? This has been going around like quite a bit in the news, like
I can't remember his last name, but Haight or Height or something. Yeah. So this Mormon family, super well known in the Mormon community down in southern Utah. It's a small town, but I read that it's one of the fastest growing parts of Utah. And Utah is actually one of the fastest growing states in the United States. And this man killed his 5 children, his wife, his mother-in-law, and then killed himself.
Yeah.
And the family, they were all found in the home together. And it has been pretty devastating here in Utah. I know that it's made national news as well. A lot of people have been asking me about it. Have you heard about that murder? Have you heard about this family? And
well, because it's just so like unfathomable, like to think, I don't know, like I can't imagine what must have snapped in him and to make him do such a thing. Like, I don't know. I have like this thought in my mind, like, okay, I understand people that go through really hard, low times in their life where, you know, I've been around a lot of suicide. I try to understand it as best as I can. I've been in low points myself. So if this man was feeling those things, I'm always like, why don't you just leave everyone else out of it? And if you can't, like if you're going to take yourself out, leave everyone else here. Like, don't take them with you. I just feel like, I don't know. And I don't know if some of that stems back. It's kind of contradicting. And I think it's contradicting belief, really. If you think like, you know, families are going to be together forever, like you're taught in, you know, in particularly the Mormon religion. If he was going to die, he wanted all of them to go, or but then he's murdering.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because the belief in the Mormon doctrine is that you live this life with a certain set of rules and commandments so that you have afterlife. Like all of your blessings come in the afterlife. And part of that is having an eternal family. So if you live worthy to go through the Mormon temple and be sealed to your family for all time and eternity, when you die, you reunite with your family. I think that's a common Christian belief, but like this is doctrine. Like we're promised that in the Mormon Church. We were promised that.
Right. So part of the information is...
But when I dug into this, I had read that his wife had just asked him for a divorce 2 weeks prior.
Right before Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that on the 21st she filed for a divorce, and then on the 27th he received the papers, and I believe this happened on the 4th of January.
Yes, 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
And somewhere I heard too that they did have guns in the home and he came and got them, which was kind of like, I don't think
a red flag.
Yeah. But also they did ask the attorney of this, of the wife, if she had expressed any fear of her life or, you know, from her husband. And he said that she hadn't expressed any of that to him, but I don't think he shared too much of anything. I think everyone in that town is just...
Everyone seems shocked by it. Like was pretty... No one saw it coming, but that's why, you know, personally, I've been following it because there has to be more information. Because back to the doctrine of Mormonism, like if the one thing that'll keep you out of that celestial glory is murder, like sinning. So adultery, taking someone's life, things like that, like big crime. And he just murdered his family. So by doctrine, he removed his ability to be with them forever.
Right.
So it doesn't really make much sense.
Right. But obviously his mind wasn't well because you can't, no well mind can go in and do that.
Did you read anywhere that he had been struggling with mental health issues? Because I couldn't personally find any like official article about it. But when I was getting my hair done, you know, salon chatter, everyone was talking about it. And I heard that maybe he had stopped taking medication for mental health. I don't know if that's a rumor, but I do know with other people who have taken their lives, that was something that led up to it. They stopped doing their therapy or taking their medication. It was, maybe an underlying mental health issue. And I just feel like this keeps happening. Like right before Christmas, we lost Twitch, an icon in the United States. And
I think that shifted. And I think everyone felt that one pretty hard.
I don't know if you know this, but I danced with Allison at the dance club in Orem. So
that's right. She's from here, right?
And she's from Utah, Orem, Utah. And she is her older sister, Becky, is really good friends with Ashley, our good friend. And I know Becky as well. Becky's how I met Ashley. So I actually met our friend through the Holkers. I don't remember their married names, but so Allison, world. So I've been a part of this group message on Instagram and just getting a little more insight into it at an intimate, personal level. It's just sad because you never know what someone's really going through, because from the outside looking in, I remember watching their Thanksgiving dinner prep. I watched their whole Instagram live of them cooking dinner together. And just I would have never thought that there could be a situation where Twitch would, we still don't have all the information, but that if he was suffering that deeply. Right. So going back to this husband, do you, how much of it is a mental health thing, or how much of it is being vindictive and becoming overtaken, one of these articles said, by Satan, because he's so mad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it definitely has left a lot of questions. I think suicide alone leaves so many questions, because you just try to make sense of the whys, what brought somebody to that point. But on top of his suicide, what brought him to the point to kill his entire family?
Including the mother-in-law.
And, who I heard the mother-in-law had just moved in with them. I think probably maybe he had moved out and she moved in to help maybe with the kids or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, she was there. So
it's so hard because there's so many aspects of it. Unfortunately, if you look up Datelines 2020s, there's always a tie to Utah or Mormonism for some reason. And a lot, I don't know the details here, but it makes me think of that pressure, right? There's such a strong pressure to be perfect. And the culture here in Utah is different, especially in those smaller communities where it's predominantly LDS.
Well, think about it. The microscope is a little bit bigger because it's everyone knows everyone. So there's not a lot of room to hide things, or you have to, I don't know. It makes you feel like you have to show up as a sense of perfect,
and over time, because no one's perfect, and over time, that guilt that you feel, because I remember feeling that, why do I always feel bad? Why do I always feel guilty? I'm following the rules, but I still don't feel good enough. Right? It just, I don't know. It just makes me really wonder how many people here put on this facade that everything's fine. My 5 kids are fed, healthy, we're doing well, but on the inside, people are struggling.
Yeah.
Because it sounds I don't know, I just feel I keep hearing of this more and more, especially in Utah, especially within the Mormon community. But
the woman that killed her kids and buried them.
Yes.
There's a documentary on her as well.
Yeah. She took off to Hawaii with her husband.
And she literally was kind of she thought she was getting premonitions, and something evil took over her mind because she believed that was coming from God.
Yeah. She started going down those crazy conspiracy. That's when it started. She started having these crazy, joined a group of conspiracists, and she did believe that she was saving her children.
Yeah. Because they were dark or something.
Or that's what she would say. That Dateline or that 2020 documentary, they keep adding to it. So we gotta go watch.
We need to catch up on that. I know, because it is interesting. I just always love the. Oh shoot! I watched it a while ago, so I'm not sure. But
But again, Utah ties, Idaho, Arizona.
and I think for some reason, like when religion gets tied into these things, that's like a core belief for a lot of people, or a core belief that was taught to them that they agreed with or felt like this is right for me. And yeah. So when she was having her own premonitions, I just thought that was interesting. I wonder if this guy in southern Utah had anything like that going on. I think that might be some of the questions. Like, what? I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I think that, I mean, it goes back to our first point, like why it's so important to check in with yourself. And, but I think when your mind gets that kind of,
Well, because that's radical. Like our core beliefs and our values do drive our decision making. But like to become that radical in a thought or feeling, like thank God so far, like even in my darkest moments, I haven't thought I'm going to radically change my life. I might cut bangs, or I've shaved my head before.
right.
But like,
Yeah, you did shave.
yeah, you know what I mean? So it's hard to like follow the thought, but there's so much information out there about like, that's why I just really feel like maybe there was an underlying mental health or like something where he just felt like he could not bear the burden anymore, or some crazy radical. I mean, look what people have done for what they believe in, like, 9/11, like people, all these terrorists, like they do it because they think they're saving the greater good, right?
Yeah, and they actually believe that.
Yeah, we're going to have to like watch this one, but it just broke my heart. Did you see the pictures and the images of the funeral?
Yeah.
Like
oh
7
my gosh.
caskets, 7 hearse, 7 holes dug in the ground.
I know. And like these kids were ages 4 to 17. So like in a small town, that's every grade basically. And you have children from all of these grades who know these kids like from school and probably running around the neighborhood. And so it's affected all ages and all the people. First responders, I'm sure they probably knew who they were when they walked into that. And I can't imagine what that must have been like for them. And I know they're encouraging everyone to kind of like seek out some help to help them through this traumatic experience, and how I don't even know where to begin to process something like that. But it is important to, to seek out help for things like that are traumatic in your life, or if you're feeling really down or dark, or I don't know. It's just better to, what am I trying to say?
Yeah,
here,
well, it's okay, and it's to just reach out. And if you feel like you have no one to reach out to, sometimes it is easier to reach out to a stranger. And there's a lot of prevention hotlines and resources that you can call. And I think it's just really key to let someone know that you're struggling. And, I think that after our break, I don't want to call to the break yet, but we should share kind of like what's your mental health regimen? Like, what do you do daily to keep your mental health healthy? So I'll toss to that later. But
yeah,
I don't know, before we take a break, because we do need to take a break. But before we do, I just want to call out, because I feel like I'm always talking about things about Mormonism that I didn't love, that didn't resonate with me. But one thing that I really do love about the Mormon community is that if you are part of their fold, they take care of you. Like the Mormon community has really shown up for this family, for Enoch, Utah in and of itself. And, I guess that's like, there is some peace in knowing that the people who loved this family and who are a part of their community believe that they are with God now. And like how the Mormon Church shows up and supports and plans the funeral. I mean, like we have a whole thing called funeral potatoes. And it's a thing that we do in the church when someone dies.
When the Relief Society steps in and helps do the luncheon and stuff.
And Relief Society is like, so everyone, you attend church as a family, then you attend classes for just women, and then you children like by age and gender. And Relief Society is the women's class, like where you go and the women Bible study, do all the different things. But the women of the church, they do provide relief. So they'll cook meals for the funeral. They'll cook meals for the family. There'll be a whole coordination for weeks that families' meals are going to be taken care of. The house will be cleaned. They'll be watched over. And I do think that that is a really cool core value of the church.
Yeah, definitely.
It just sucks that you don't get it if you're not in it.
I know.
But like like reading all these articles and stuff, it brought up a lot of emotion for me. Like that is something that is honorable.
Yeah. Just creates that like core part of a community, and where you do watch out for each other. And we all need that. We all need our own community, whether it is our religion or, just close friends to do that for each other. But religion or the Relief Society does a really good job of that, and for sure.
Maybe I need some comfort food. Maybe you need to make me some funeral potatoes.
It might help. Better. That might help.
Some ham and funeral potatoes, green Jello.
I don't know. That'd put me into a stupor.
But we need to take a break. But when we come back from the break, let's lighten it up a little bit and maybe talk about some useful things that we do to our mental health hygiene and what you do to get yourself out of a funk.
A funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take a break and we'll be back. All right, wild ones, welcome back from the break. Today's topic is kind of heavy, but it's important. And it's very, very important, very relevant. What? Relevant.
Very relevant.
Yeah, I mean, I shared earlier, I'll be open and honest about it. I always am. That's why I promised all of you. But I have been in a funk, and I have been depressed and overwhelmed. And obviously this murder of this family and suicide has been really heavy here in Utah. But I think now, to lighten it up a bit, we talk about, I think it's really important to have like a mental health routine. They call it mental health hygiene. Just like you take care of your, I do my Wild Rose Beauty skincare routine. You need to have a mental health routine, a spiritual routine, physical routine. So Connie, what is your mental health hygiene?
I think this one's harder for me than, like getting myself to the gym. But even getting myself to the gym creates those endorphins for me and makes me feel better mentally. I always kind of say like that keeps me off of medication, because I have had to take medication before, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, we don't have our serotonin and dopamine levels like where they should be naturally, so we need to supplement that.
Yeah, I've been on antidepressants a couple times.
Yeah, so no shame in that game at all. So I've lived with them, without them, but my life has gone through a lot of ups and downs. So checking in, a new one I think I've added and I need to go back to, like I feel like I need to release a lot of things, that pressure and anxiety and, whatever is building up. And it's breath work. And our friends, our good friends here, own a chiropractic practice and massage, Julie and John at Recoup. And if you're in Utah, you need to go and see them. But they also do offer classes, and they do a breath work class. And it was interesting because when Julie had some knee surgery, and so she was reading a book, and it was on breath work, and she was studying up on it. And the more she's learning about it, she was like, we need to add this. And we should actually have her on to talk about this, because I've been thinking about that a lot, like how much good it does for stress. And I'd never done a breathwork class before. And did you ever do one of her classes?
Yeah, I haven't. been able to go to hers yet, but I've done breath work a lot, and it is really powerful. It's hard.
It is. It's hard.
Depending on
where you're at.
Yeah, what you're doing and what kind of breath work you're doing.
And I think probably every breathwork class feels different. Like, I mean, you could probably have the same instructor every time, and depending on where you're at emotionally and energetically, your body will move that through breath. I loved that. And
well, you can actually control your nervous system with your breath. Like what I think, like breath is life, and that's the practice of yoga. And if you notice when you are stressed or if something like triggers you, you are taking shorter, more shallow breaths, and you're often holding your breath.
Right.
And that's going to create a response in your nervous system.
Yeah. In fact, after it made me more aware of my breathing just normally. Like I would get stressed out driving along or whatever, and then I would stop and be really present, and I'd go, oh wait, I am breathing really shallow. Like, okay, breathe. And it naturally will just calm things down. So that I think is powerful. I think it's really powerful. And I think it, like, we're just catching on over in our Western side of the world to things like that. But I think that's going to be a big one for me this year, I think.
Yeah, breath work, breathing. And that is something, once you learn how to do it, you can do it at home, while you're like wherever you are, to calm yourself down. And it helps you stay present, which alleviates all that stress and chaos. Something I like to do with breath work that I learned, actually learned in therapy years ago, is labeling. So, and if you feel like you're having a panic attack or anxiety or really stressed, you just take deep breaths in and out. We do that on this podcast before we start. We always take a deep breath in and out, and then you start labeling things around you. So you'd say chair, microphone, pot, plant, sun, and it helps you just realize, like, it brings you back to where you are and grounds you and calms you down. So you just made me think of that when you're talking about breath work.
Yeah. No, I think I've heard that term, and I can't remember if I brought this up before, but be where your feet are. And that I just always remember that. Be where your feet are. Like, where are my feet? That's the perfect way to do it. Just like focusing on that. And then you can let your mind go into like things that we need to work, or wherever you're at, whatever you're working on. But yeah, that's important.
Yeah, something that I've been doing is writing down my stress and writing down the things that are worrying me or weighing heavy. And like journaling is a really powerful way too, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed. You write down the things that are overwhelming you, and just like releasing it onto paper helps you, and you go back and read it, it helps you understand it.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't know how or why it works.
Well, I just barely watched that documentary on Netflix called, I believe it's called Stutz. And it's Jonah Hill. He made a documentary of his therapist and him. And the documentary is about his therapist, but the whole purpose behind it was he wanted to share with the world these tools that this therapist has given him to help him through some of the hardest things he's gone through. It was fascinating. And I just felt so grateful that he did that for all of, I don't know, like anybody who has access to Netflix needs to watch this. But he did bring that up, that like when we write things down in journal form, that things come out on our subconscious that end up on the paper. And I never knew of that or thought of it like that. But he gives some really, really good tips and advice on, I don't know, just like a deeper understanding of like our brains and why we do the things we do, and what to do about that too if we struggle in different areas. They cover quite a bit, and it took him 2 years to make this movie. It's really good. You need to watch it. It's fascinating.
It to the list
it's one I might have to watch once a month, actually.
Another thing, like with the writing down, like I have a hard time sleeping, especially when I'm stressed, and that actually plays a huge role into my anxiety as well, because I'm exhausted. I feel overwhelmed and tired. But when I wake up in the middle of the night, something I've been practicing is writing down what woke me up. So it's like I'm placing the thing that's bothering me on paper, and I know it's going to be there, and it's still going to stress me out in the morning, but now I've gotten it out of my brain. And then I also like to write down the things that are really hard to say, like feelings I have or things I'm experiencing that are hard to tell people. Like writing it down still in a way releases it. And then the more that you write it down or the more that you release it, it becomes easier to say.
Yeah. I just barely had this happen with my husband, Ben, and I were at a point where we were just not really hearing each other, and we were both getting so frustrated. And I just thought, okay, I'm just going to write him a letter. Because sometimes I feel like he just waits for his turn to talk and he's not hearing me. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to write him a letter and just leave it for him. And and things came out that I wasn't planning on writing, but I was just like flowing with whatever came up and onto the paper. And I felt so much better just with that. And I think he actually, I think he had a better understanding of what I was feeling. So it did help.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We need to definitely journal more. And I don't know, just the last thing that I've been lacking on is definitely like working out and eating healthy. And I've noticed a very direct correlation with my mental health, with how I'm eating, if I'm exercising and getting those endorphins. But to be honest, I've just been like more, that's how I knew I needed to reach out and talk to someone, because I very rarely can't get out of bed. And right now it's like, that's where I'm like pulling away. And like, it's really hard for me to even just get out of bed, because I just feel like fatigued.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realize that that's like a sign of depression. So.
No, for real.
I do need to like really step it up with my diet. So if you have any meal prep plans or any of like, I need some resources.
Yeah.
I'm just
Send
too
them our
busy.
way.
Like I need meals prepared so I can grab them. My kids can grab them.
There's a lot of companies now that do that. So send us your favorites. We want those.
If you have a good meal prep company that you love, send it to me, because I think I definitely need to feed my body better.
Yeah. No, that's important. In fact, I talk about this human design app that gives me tips about my life and different things. And one of them was, she talks about why we have bad dreams. And it's directly correlated to how you ate before bed. And it affects your body and your dreams.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Huh?
Yeah, I have that app too. I'm gonna have to go look this up.
Yeah, that's a new tip.
Yeah,
so I'm like, okay, what am I eating before bed?
Pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is important to do whatever makes sense to you, even if it's one little thing. Because like when I get into those dark places, I want to retract and I don't want to put it on anyone, or, but then I start to go down this spiral. And in fact, in that documentary Stutz, he talks about how people just being around other people, when you're not feeling that good, he says, you can schedule a lunch with somebody that they might not be very interesting to talk to or whatever, but they represent all of humanity, and they're sitting there with you, giving you that time and attention. And I don't know how he says it, but basically like that's powerful. And it just made me think, when I want to retract and go inward, it's actually really important to still reach out and be around people, as hard as that can be sometimes. And for a social person like me, that's when I know if I'm pulling inward and I don't want to talk to anyone and I don't want to go anywhere, I'm like, okay.
That's the biggest red flag.
Yeah. And it's also the hardest to pull out of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's possible. It's possible to do. You just have to be aware of the signs, because these are signs your body's giving you to pay attention. Pay attention. And then when you don't, then
my own husband had no idea how I've been struggling, because he was like, you're so positive, you're so energetic, you are still working your ass off. You know, I just launched a new business. And I think that that's the key, is like to what you're saying, is like you have to learn to acknowledge it, and it's okay. Like, I struggle with it, Connie struggles with it, everyone struggles with it. I think that the world got so heavy, and it's just heavy right now too. Mm-hmm. And we're all in this together, and I love that concept of like taking the time to still show up for people, because it does have that butterfly effect.
Totally.
And it's energy, and it's energy mm-hmm. that we create, it's energy we store and we transfer. So I am just grateful that I do know where my resources are, and you know, it's fine. I feel bad that I'm not as like energetic, but like,
no, it's okay. Sometimes it's like that. In fact, my sister called me yesterday, and she's on a high right now, and I haven't been on a high lately. So to hear it, usually I'm that one that's like cheering people on, and I'm excited with them. And I was listening to her, and I was like, fuck you. Like, honestly, I'm like, I don't need to hear this shit right now. And then I'm like, God, what's wrong with me? This is great. This is what I need to like get myself back to again. But also, So when I am in those highs, I remember I'm creating, like, I have the bandwidth and the space to be there for others when they're not feeling this. Mm-hmm. And right now, my sister has that. And so she's the one I need to go to lunch with and meet up with. But it is on my mind when I am in a good place. I'm like, okay, you know, things are going good in my life. Things are going smooth right now. I have space for people right now that maybe I can, you know, just be there for them. And, you know.
And I think that's the key, Connie, is like it's a lot easier to give, for most people, I think it's a lot easier to give other people the energy, give other people the positivity. And I guess what I'm trying to say right now is, from everyone else's perspective, I'm kicking ass and I'm on it and I'm happy. And I am. I love everything that's going for me, but I need to show myself that same energy.
Yeah.
And I haven't been. I've been neglecting my mental, physical, and emotional wellness. And now it's time for me to pull that energy back from giving it to everyone else and give it to myself. Mm-hmm. And then that'll recharge me, and I will get back to the point where everything's not as overwhelming. It's not as heavy. And I think
I'm going to help you.
Yes.
We're going to do it in Cabo. We're going to reset, recharge.
Isn't it crazy that even tequila doesn't even sound good right now?
Oh, that's how you know.
That's how you know. If you don't even want a shot of tequila, it's too depressing.
We're going to change this. We're going to change this around. Yeah. This is what friends are for. We're going to
It's also a cycle. Like it's a natural cycle, and it's okay. We need to talk about it. Be there for each other.
Yeah. It's okay to have low feelings and low times in your life.
It just talk, share them, even if it's with your cat.
Yeah. And
just
I think one last thing for me is to remember that no matter what you're feeling, it's not going to stay that way forever. Mm-hmm. It's even when you can't see the light at the end of this tunnel, that's not how life goes. It won't let things stay the same. They just won't.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
And we say that to each other a lot. We're like, I know this is situational, but I'm going to vent to you. Because I'm stuck on it.
Yeah. And sometimes you just need somebody to hear.
Nothing is forever.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And there's some peace in that.
Yeah. And I do find peace, and that encourages me too. Because I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm going to allow myself to have a shitty day. And today had a dark cloud over it. But I know tomorrow can be better, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it better.
Yeah.
Well, thank you as always to all of you. We love you. We appreciate you. If you like our podcast, please share it with your friends and family. Have them subscribe. And as always, please DM us, reach out, and let us know any questions you have, any topics you want us to cover, or if you have any fun guest ideas, or if you just want to say hi and need to reach out. We are here for you.
We love you.
And don't forget, be you, stay wild.